Hi, Linda. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Nice to have you join us from the Beehive today. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at the Beehive. As you might be able to tell from my background, I'm in one of our bedrooms. It's kind of our headquarters when we're here working, because unfortunately we have empty rooms. So we've been able to take one of the rooms for ourselves while we're here working. Yeah.
Yeah. Home away from home.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm here, and yeah, and my husband's watching the front desk. Steve's watching the front desk, so I can do this.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, because we do have
So,
guests. We actually have some guests, so that's
well,
good.
that's even better.
Yeah.
So, I imagine things have been quite quiet this year. Yeah.
Well, yes, very quiet. Yeah, I mean quieter than usual. I mean things have been kind of busy right now, but not in the way it normally is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're ticking over on some level at least.
Yeah, I mean we're definitely working, which is good. And I know a lot of people aren't, so that's good. Uh, but it's definitely not the way it normally should be. Yeah.
No. Well, I don't think anything's normal this year.
I know. Say nothing's normal right
Politics,
now.
life, anything.
It's true.
So for those who don't know you and don't know the Beehive, you're originally from the States.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Puerto Rican, but I
Mhm.
was born in Germany because my father was U.S. military.
Oh,
So, and then I grew up in Panama and Puerto Rico, and then we moved to Colorado, and that's when I moved to the United States. Yeah.
okay.
But
So
I am
you've
American. I am American as the point. Yeah. I know you. I am American and Italian now too.
congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we got citizenship back in 2015.
Okay. Oh, that's quite a while. Yeah. And what about German citizenship? Do you have that as well, or
No, because like Italy, you have to live legally for a certain amount of years, have
um,
residency.
even though you were born there?
Right. Germany, you had. I mean, if I had family or anything like that were German, it would be different. But I don't.
Mm,
Um, so no, because we looked into that when we were, wanting to move to Italy.
yeah.
It would have made things a lot easier, but no, I wasn't able to get it because I would have had to have had legal residency in Germany for 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to be going to Germany, so
Yeah, exactly. Some places you're just like, no.
yeah, no, it's not the country for me. But Italy is 10 years legal residency.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, making it
Great.
just that much more difficult as they do here. Yeah.
Exactly. So what was the catalyst, I guess, for you and Steve to move to Italy and begin the Beehive? Was it a whim? Was it
Yeah, I mean, we just decided we were living in Los Angeles at the time. We'd had an on and off again relationship for many, many years. And at that point, it was on. We got back together. And then eventually we got married. But before we left California to come to Rome. And we just decided we wanted to, we knew we wanted to work together, be together.
Mhm.
We didn't like the lifestyle we were leading at the time, which was a lot of doing jobs that we weren't that crazy about, and
What sort of
spending a
work
lot
were
of
you?
time away from each other. Uh,
Yeah.
Commuting and spending time away from each other. We wanted to work together, and we wanted to work for ourselves. So we came up with all kinds of different ideas, but the one that stuck was opening a hostel in Rome. So
And
that's what
did
we did.
you at that stage have any experience in hospitality or hotels or
No, I mean I had zero. Even though I've had many, many jobs in my life,
yeah, like me?
working in hospitality was not one of them. Steve had worked for, when he had spent some time here in Rome before, he had worked at a kind of hostel / hotel before that. Actually, one that was in our current neighborhood.
Okay.
And, yeah, so he'd had some experience in hospitality, but I mean, we really didn't have a background. We certainly didn't have a business background. So either one of us, which actually to our detriment, 21 years later, we realized there's some things, decisions that we made and things that we did that if we'd had more business acumen, that maybe we wouldn't have made those decisions. But no, we didn't have any kind of really a solid background. And I had zero background in hospitality.
Yeah. And would you do it all over again?
Yes. We would do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
but,
slightly differently, obviously.
Yeah,
but.
we would. I mean, there's certain things we would do differently, mostly having to do with finances. Especially now that, we're in difficulty because of, shitty deals we had to take and things that we didn't do quite. We did give a lot of thought. It's difficult to do when you're not in a position to have choices. You find yourself making decisions that are not really, in the long run, aren't really to your advantage.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by shitty deals. So when you don't have the money to
the sort of for now
it's almost like that kind of what they call the poverty tax, right? You need something, yet you don't have the money for it, so you get something that probably won't really last, but you get it anyway because you need it. Then the thing breaks down after a couple of years, and then you find yourself buying it again. Whereas if you'd had the money up front for like something that was more,
like fast fashion, or last for a season, and then
that was, you know what I mean? Then you could have bought the thing that would have lasted and not have to end up buying it over and over and over again. Not the same. It's just kind of an example of what I mean. But
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we weren't in a position really to negotiate better deals for some of the things that we, still are to this day paying off. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get into all that. It's boring. It's boring and depressing.
So why Rome? What made you decide on Rome, on Italy?
Well, we neither one of us had big, Italy, we love it, and neither one of us had a big love affair for Italy. It just, we liked it well enough. I mean, actually, the first time Steve had ever been to Rome, he hated it. He didn't like it at all. And then the next time he went, it grew on him a little bit more. I came, I liked it a lot, but it wasn't like I was, enamored of it. For us,
starstruck.
For us, it was just, we thought it was a beautiful place, and we really liked the people here. That was a big factor for us, were the people here. Romans, we just adored, and we had a really good rapport with a lot of people here. And actually, they reminded me a lot of I don't want to say my family, but they reminded me a lot of, in a way, my family. A lot of the ways, like sense of humor and the way different things that they would say and do. It just, not my immediate family, but like my extended family. They reminded me a lot of my extended family, Italians here in Rome did. So people that we knew. So I felt this kind of, I don't know, like it really spoke to me being here in Rome. So for us, when we decided in the end that we wanted to do this thing, that we wanted to move to Rome and open up a hostel, well, Rome made sense, for us, and for a variety of reasons. But yeah, Rome was it, and it's, even though we live in Orvieto now, because we moved to Orvieto 9 years ago, and it's a lovely place, and it's a lovely place to live. Rome is my city, like it's the place that we feel more at home at.
Yeah.
Even though, like I said, love Orvieto, nothing against Orvieto, but it just doesn't speak to me the way Rome does. I don't have the same kind of memories and the same kind of history
Mm.
ghetto that I do here. Like
It's a
Rome,
little bit
everywhere I go.
smaller
Well,
too.
Rome, everywhere I go, there's a different memory. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's that. That's where we did this. That's where my kid took her first step.
Mm.
It's just there's because all three of our daughters were born here, so I have a lot of memories and a lot of love for this city. Uh,
Mm.
so even though we don't live here right now, we're here a lot anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
now we're here 4 days a week, so it's not
Oh,
like it's not like we're never here. Yeah.
no, definitely not. And so, how long did you start the Beehive straight away, or did you do something else first? Have you always been in around Termini, or?
Well, we started in 1999, and yes, I mean, we started pretty much right away. We came, and Steve came a month or so before I did to find a place for us to live and also a place for the business because we never lived in the same place
Mm.
as the business, and because we needed that kind of separation, um, even though here a lot, but we need someplace else to go at the end of the day, and then so he was looking for two places, but then he found a place, and then a month later I came, and then 2 weeks after I arrived from California, we opened. So we've always, since we moved here in '99, we've always just done the Beehive. We've not done
Mm.
other things. I mean, we've done other kinds of projects within the Beehive that are under
Yeah.
the under the umbrella of the Beehive, like a lot of the food stuff we do
Mm.
and different events that we hold here. They're all under the umbrella of the Beehive. Yeah, it's not like we had other businesses. We did have one other business that was an accommodation agency. It was like
Mm.
pre-Airbnb. It was called Cross Pollinate, and we started that in 2000. It stemmed from the fact that we used to have a lot of people ask us for when we didn't have space. They would ask us for recommendations of places
Mm.
to book, and so we ended up creating a network with accommodation owners that we knew that had B&Bs or guest houses or private apartments. They were all places that we personally went and checked out and vetted, and we had personal relationships with these people, and also accountability. So if
Mm-hmm.
somebody, we would sometimes end up having to take places off the site because they would not, they weren't doing their part, or their places were, they were letting go. They weren't really taking care of them properly, or if they didn't treat our clients properly or correctly. So
Mm.
it was something that we put a lot of personal effort into.
Yeah.
But then Airbnb came around and kind of destroyed that business,
Okay.
killed it, and slowly it died a horrible death, and then we had to sell it for. I mean, we were lucky we were able to sell it. We got very little for it, but at
Mm.
least we were able to get something for it. Um, I know many people that isn't the case, where they have a business and it gets taken over by a bigger kind of company.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that in the end they just have to give up their business and they don't get anything for it. So thankfully we were able to get something for it, but not we definitely yeah. So we lost that business, but that was all part of accommodation hospitality. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. The changing environment as it does.
Yeah, exactly. So no, so that was a really good business that we had for many years. Um, but now we just have the Beehive. That's all we do.
Mm. And you're still doing other sort of little activities like the food and the poetry readings or
Yeah, I haven't
that
done
sort of
any
stuff?
poetry in a while.
No, I was
Every
just
every day I
thinking
was like, I'm
about
gonna
that.
do this every day, and then I was like, I'm just boring people to death. Um, so I mean, I like it. I love poetry, and some people really gave me very nice comments and enjoyed them also. But I felt I was being a little bit too gloomy, so I decided not. I decided to stop doing it. But every once in a while, I may do one at some point, just because I enjoy reading out loud, and so that's why I started the Beehive Reads, which was a way for me to be able to read out loud and have a little bit of an audience, and also showcase and support writers that I know who have, either cookbooks or, fiction books, and be able to, I mean, I don't have a huge platform, but I like to use the little platform that I do have to, I don't know, to promote people that I know, to support each other, because I think that's really important that we help each other out in any way we can. And
Definitely.
yeah, so I started this Beehive Reads because I love books. I'm a book lover. I was an English literature major in university. So I'm a great lover of books. And so for me, it's nice to be able to, like I said, to be able to read and also to showcase and support authors that I know. And so I took a little break for September. I was doing it every Sunday on Instagram, on Instagram Live. But I took a little break for September because, well, for a variety of reasons, I didn't do it for the month of September. And I'm starting up again this month. So this month I'll be once again doing it once a week, or every other couple weeks.
Yeah, I think that's the hard thing, is getting that momentum going where,
Well, because, life gets in the way and,
it
something
does.
happens and you're tired, you don't really want to do it or whatever, so it's hard to do something on a regular basis like that. I try, but I realized I was starting to get a little bit fatigued from it. So I took September off, because the weekends are really like the only time I have any time off, because I'm working during the week. So but it seems to work better on the weekends. I don't know. I may play around with the format a little bit, but yeah. So there was that, and but COVID has put kind of a kibosh on a lot of the things that we used to do. A lot of the events that we used to hold we're not able to anymore. Like our storytellers event, which was one of my favorites, was a really fun event to do, and that took place in Rome and in Florence. But that involves, people being together in a closed space, and we're just not able to do that anymore.
No.
So I'm sad about that. So I don't know what the future holds for that. We tried it virtually, but it was kind of fun during lockdown, when it was lockdown. But right now, doing it virtually, I think would be kind of, I don't know, kind of weird. So, because that's not the point of the event. The point of the event is for people to be together and away from the screen.
So but I guess it's still a way for people to be a bit connected if they're sort of a bit nervous about going to places.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there would be a little bit of an audience for that. But I mean, especially here in Italy and in Rome, where we've had really, where we've had, I don't want to say normal, but, we were doing these dinners every Tuesday, and we would have maximum 12 people. But, we're outside in our garden. And so, people felt it was a nice way for us to socialize, but still feel like we had space, so it wasn't like we were on each other. So I think people really like that. And now we're not doing it anymore because the weather is just so weird.
It is.
We might do something a little bit more low key, because the dinners were pretty intense as far as the work that we had to put into them. So we may continue with dinners if the weather is nice, but have something very, very just easy. Yeah, but the storytellers, as we haven't had that, I mean, for months and months and months. I can't remember the last time we all met in person. And so that's a shame. And then other events that we used to do here, like, clothing swaps. And I mean, I would love to get art exhibits going again here. We used to do art exhibits, but none of that stuff we can do right now, none of that stuff. So yeah, so we'll have to see what happens.
Time to incubate.
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens. Yeah. I don't know. We do what we can. But the dinners were working really well. But, things are getting weird here in Italy again, too. So, as far as cases are spiking, and yeah. And
yes,
we work in a business that we're very conscious of it, You know what I mean? We're around people all the time from all over Europe. We have our own, regulations and rules that we have here. And now that, I don't know if it's become national yet, but here in Lazio and Rome, you now have to wear masks outdoors also.
Yeah.
So, the restrictions are coming back again. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel uneasy a little bit about really doing any big events right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, we'll have to see what
definitely.
happens.
Yeah.
Because different people have different comfort levels, Yeah.
Yes, it's not. I mean, I've been over in Abruzzo for nearly 3 weeks now, and I actually decided I normally have a car. I normally hire a car here, but I haven't got one this trip. I just thought, no, I'm just going to try and be here in the village by myself.
Yeah. How's it
That's
been
been good. I
going?
mean, sort of
How's it been
managed to
going
get
for
out
you?
a little bit, but
Yeah.
I think it has made you sort of think a bit differently in terms of going out and being sociable. So
Well, I have friends here, it's a spectrum, right? I have friends who are super social. Any opportunity they have, they will be out. I see them on Instagram just constantly out, aperitivo, dinners, all kinds of stuff.
mm,
I have other friends who are, they just, they can't, they feel much too nervous
mm,
about getting together with people, like maybe in a small, like they'll get together with one person, like for a coffee or something like that, but any kind of group, even a small group situation, they still feel
mm,
very nervous about. And I get it. I get it. We're, like I said, we're in the situation where we're around people from all over Europe, from the UK, and a lot of them that don't seem particularly concerned about, about the fact that there's a virus out there.
no, I know it's
I'm
quite
constantly having to
strange.
remind people, put your mask on, um, you know, yeah.
No,
So,
totally. I mean, maybe just having that visibility now with everybody having to wear masks back in Rome and Lazio, that it just reinforces that level of care that people should be taking rather than laissez-faire. So
well, here in Italy, we're very used to it. We've been doing it since March,
yeah,
whereas all other parts of Europe are not at the same. I aren't at the same level of awareness of wearing masks all the time. Like,
mm,
I don't even think about it anymore. I just put it. Sometimes I don't even need to have it on, and I have it on. I just I'm so used to it now. Because I
yeah,
have it so often here, and I don't think about it anymore. But there's other people, and I see this based on the guests that we have. Other parts of Europe, it's not the same. They're just like, oh yes, I forgot, and they're just not. They don't think about it. They're not aware.
no.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
And so you're still getting quite a few international visitors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now we have people from all over Finland,
Mm,
France. I guess France now, they have to get tested when they come in.
yeah.
Uh, they get a COVID test when they come into the airport. UK, Netherlands,
Mm,
uh, yeah, all over. And a lot of people are young. I would say 20s to mid 30s is the
mm,
average age. Most of them are traveling solo. These are our guests, I'm saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And a lot of them are, like, it seems like they're working remotely. Like, a lot of them have, they have their computers, they're on Zoom meetings, they're
Mm,
working on their computers. I see them, but a lot of them, the majority of them are staying in our dorm. So they're
yeah.
in a shared room, which, a
Okay.
lot of, so when people said, hostels would be the ones to come back sooner, like hostel guests,
Mm,
and it's been like this always, like, because, it was like this 9/11. It was like this, the Iraq War. It was like this with, the volcano in Iceland. All these different, there was, SARS. Different things that we've seen over the past 20 years.
mm,
Um, and yeah, the the budget sector, the hostel sector, that always bounces back right away. And I didn't know if that was going to be the case this time, but it's the case again this time.
wow.
We see, I mean, we have guests, I mean, plenty of hotels in this neighborhood and throughout Rome that are still closed, you
Yeah.
know, so that have not reopened. And I don't know if they're going to reopen. But
Yeah.
because we're in the hostel sector, because we're small, because, you know, we're not very big and we don't, so there's not a lot of, as far as like staffing and things like that, we're
Mm.
able to just manage it on our own, you know, with one other person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that's been the good part of it. Um, yeah. So I don't know. We're hanging in there, so to speak,
Good.
doing our best.
Exactly. And do you have people, friends back home, or that sort of think about doing anything like you've done, or are thinking about sort of getting out of the rat race and doing something different, or are they
Well,
just sort
I
of?
don't know. I think, you know, back in the United States, I know there's a lot of people, you know, former guests of ours or people that I know who follow me on Instagram
Mm.
or Americans who are just dying to come back to Italy, you know, like, because I have a few friends who are, you know, who come to Italy all the time, people that I know that, you know, are regular visitors. And
Mm.
they really want to come back. But when they're going to be able to come back, I have no idea when that's going to be. Because the situation there is still not under control. And yeah, I think it's
No.
going to be it's definitely not going to be this year. Uh, but maybe next year at some point, hopefully. But I think there will have to be certain conditions. I think people will have to have tests. And, you know, I think it's not going to just happen, um, you know,
Although I
just
think that
open.
sort of
It's
side
not
of
going to just
things,
be open up the borders. Okay, everybody can come back now. You know,
free for all.
yeah.
Like, what is it,
But
Black
I do
Friday
know,
sale?
yeah. But I do know that I do know people want to come back. In what capacity? I don't know. I think some people have been you know, would like to make a life change, but you
Mm.
know, as unfortunately as you get older, it's more difficult for people. But you know, even younger people, a lot of people have fear, right,
Mm.
of making any kind of change, life change, um, and certainly moving to another country is a big one. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big leap to make. You know, and it can't just be done randomly. I mean, you have to, you know, it's a risk, but whether you have to make a bit of a calculated risk with it, right?
Mm.
You can't just say, oh, I'm just going to move and not think anything about it and then be here and then try to, you know, figure things out. It
Where
doesn't
am
work
I?
that way. Yeah, well, especially with Italy, it doesn't work that way. Now, you know, the way we did it is much different and is not possible anymore.
Mm. Yeah.
The way we moved here, you can't do it as Americans, you can't do anymore.
Mm.
So, you know, you have to really think about, you know, there's a lot of things to consider. And now there's people that will actually help you with that. I mean, I have a few friends who actually have businesses where they will help people move to Italy. Um, you know, but that wasn't the case when we moved here. There was nothing, no kind of service like that or any, you know, people to help you. Now with the internet and people that, you know, that they, I mean, it would be, you know, if you're wanting to move to Italy, it would actually behoove you to look into services like this by people who would do things like this because it's it's very bureaucratic here, and unless you're very, you know, fluent in the language, it will be very
Mm.
difficult for you to figure all this stuff out. I mean, you can, I guess, but you know, if you have some kind of income where you can, you know, have somebody do this for you, it's definitely worthwhile. But you know, it's not
Yeah.
for everybody. Visiting a country is much different than living in the country. So,
Totally.
so it's something that you have to, you know, you have to do a lot of research. You have to come and stay for a little while, see if it works for you. But I know a
Mm.
lot of people that would like to, not just in Italy, but in other parts of the world, who want to make, you know, who want to move and make a change in their life. And definitely it's worth doing. Like I said, I would do it again in a heartbeat. Uh, you know, it's just something that my only change would be certain, like I said, certain business decisions we made, but everything else, you know,
Mm.
would, yeah, I definitely would do it over. I would do it all the same, all over again.
I think too is sometimes those, I mean, you can have the hiccups along the way, but sometimes those hiccups can actually be quite good learning opportunities, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, within reason, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, you do learn
And
from your
same with the
mistakes. At least you hope
delays.
you learn. You
Sorry?
hope you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, some don't. But also, it's like even the delays that you get with bureaucracy is sometimes it seems like it's frustrating and all that, but sometimes it actually gives you an opportunity to review what you're actually planning on doing and change things around a bit. I
Yeah.
mean, I haven't quite found that in my life, but living wise. But I mean, when I was when I was doing my renovation, I know there were hiccups and things, but it allowed me to actually change the plans on how I wanted to use the space and things like that. So it's not always to one's detriment, but I think that's how you view things as well, as to whether you see things as an opportunity or not. And I think some people, if you go in with rose-colored glasses and think that everything's going to be perfect, I think you can be disillusioned fairly quickly. But if you've decided that you want the lifestyle change and you're going with patience and some, you know.
Well, it's good to be positive, but yes, I mean, you have to be realistic too. But yeah, being positive is definitely a good thing, because I certainly have seen plenty of people, non-Italians, I guess, who move here, um, who get quite negative,
Yes,
and I'm sure you've seen them in different
some
forums and
expat
groups and things
groups.
like that. Yeah. Oh, you're like, what are you still doing here for? It's just, I mean, yes,
I can only eat Italian food.
it's like, it's not perfect, but I mean, if you're just so negative, I mean, you're miserable. I think you would be miserable no matter where you were. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, some people aren't happy unless they've got something to complain about, I've
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah, that's why I don't really go on those groups anymore.
No, neither do I.
It's like, you know what? Nah, it's okay.
No, definitely. Ah, cool. And so as well, on the other side of raising family in Italy, because I mean, I'm sure there's some people that might be able to move with a family and do all that sort of stuff. What's your advice for anyone that's maybe got younger kids that would perhaps make
Well,
the move?
we didn't move here with kids. We had our
No.
kids here. Yeah. I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know what it would be like moving with kids. I mean, well, yeah, no,
Oh,
that's not true. That's not true, because we moved to Bali. We actually lived in Bali, in Indonesia, for 2 years.
mm,
When our children were young, they were 9, 7, and 3 when we
okay.
moved there. And we lived there for 2 years, and we ran the business remotely. We had more staff back then.
Mm,
So we had staff and our manager who ran the Beehive, like the actual physical running of it. We did a lot of work remotely, administrative and customer service kind of stuff. So yeah, so we moved to Bali with little children, and we did that. That it worked out really well.
mm,
So yeah, I don't really know. I mean, you have to do your research, and you have to, make sure you've got things in order, especially when they're with young kids. I'm not a person who likes to wing it with my kids, so I
yeah.
wing it with a lot of other things, but we really wanted to make sure that, they were, they had a school, and they had, there were different things, that we made sure about for them.
Mm,
Um, Moving to Italy, though, we didn't have kids, and we had our kids here, and
mm,
it was different. We went through different periods with them, where the first two went to a British international school for
oh,
7 years. And then the youngest, she never did. She never went to that school. She went to a regular kind of nursery school. And then that's when we moved to Bali. And then they went, that was a international school. And then when we moved back, that's when they finally went into Italian school. So they didn't start with Italian until later in life.
Mm.
And now they're completely bilingual, all three of them. But initially they weren't, even though they were all born here. But I do think, if you plan on having kids here, and you plan on being here long term, it really does make a huge. It's really important, in my opinion. I mean, other people might disagree, but I do think it's important for your kids to learn Italian. And I think the best way for them to learn Italian is to go to Italian school.
Deep
So,
end.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, totally. And so, and it's worthwhile. I mean, because even though our kids, and even we don't really like the Italian public school system for a variety of reasons, but it was a way, it wasn't only the education, but it was also the friendships that they formed, and they just really became Italian, you know? I mean, they assimilated into the culture a lot more. So now they're kind of like this weird mix, you know, of two of us, because they've never lived in the United States. So they don't really know what it's like, with the exception of one daughter who went for a few months, but that's another story. But but you know, they really assimilated in the culture and having friendships, and you know, and the education and the language. So now, you know, they're bilingual, and because you know, this is their country, this is where they live, this is home, right? So for them to be in a bubble of an international school, without, I mean, without having any connection to Italy, right? So it's one thing Italians that send their kids to international because they're Italian, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They have the foundation, they have the family, they have the cultural connection. But for us, non-Italian, for our kids to always just go to international school, I realize now that it was a good thing that they ended up. I mean, we were kind of forced financially for our kids to go to Italian school, but I'm really glad that happened, because for us it seemed a shame that they were all born here and they didn't speak any Italian, you know. And now, I mean, that's not the case at all. And now, even, you know, they're able to go to school here, you know, university in Europe, and they're, you know, they go as EU citizens. So, you know, they're not, you know, they pay, like our oldest daughter, who's in the Netherlands right now going to school, she pays, you know, the EU tuition, you know, she doesn't pay like the American tuition, you know, which would be a lot more. I mean, nothing like American tuition in the United States, but still, it would be a lot more. So I think it's really important that if you have kids and you bring kids here, that you have them learn Italian, because they really they can have other kids to play with. They have, you know, there's lots of benefits having them go to school here in the system here. Yeah. Which I know I didn't do that great of a job explaining, but hopefully people get the gist of what I'm saying. Yeah.
Did it take you long to learn the language?
I'm still learning the language.
I've got a feeling it's something one never finishes. Actually,
I mean, my kids now, their Italian is so much more, you know, so much more advanced than ours. Steve speaks really good Italian, but even he, you know, he makes mistakes and things like that. But his is much better than mine. I reached a level of fluency where I'm just like, hey, you know, I talk, but I make so many mistakes. And it's just laziness on my part. I mean, really, I just need to sit down and actually take the time to correct my grammar. My grammar's terrible.
Because I think the thing is too, you start making a mistake and you do it regularly enough that you think it's hard to rewire your brain to realize that you have to say it a different way.
Yeah. No, my grammar is terrible and limited. and my vocabulary the same. My vocabulary is very limited. So those are all things that I could work on, right? But lazy person that I am with the language, you know, education. Yeah.
I've got so many books on learning Italian, but I don't study them, I have to admit.
Yeah.
I prefer to learn by listening to people, although here in my village they speak a dialect that's like
Hmm. Yeah, you're
that's
in a little
nothing like
village.
Italian.
Yeah, you're in a little village. That's tough. Yeah, Rome is easier for that.
So, but slowly
Yeah.
we get there. I can make myself understood most of the time, so it's not really a big deal.
Yeah.
So,
No, I feel perfectly comfortable speaking. I know I make mistakes.
mm,
So it's like that, you know? But no,
yeah,
I like the language a lot.
same. I've done a few one-on-one lessons, but I sort of found, I don't know, I didn't really have the time to continue, and I've been picked up at a level that I don't know. I think I was maybe advanced in some ways and
Yeah.
backwards in others, so it's hard to really get what you want out of individual tuition. So I don't know.
No, but it's important. It's definitely important to know the language here because, you know, you won't get very far if you don't speak it.
No, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I renovated a house, and it was a crash course in Italian, really. So
Oh yeah. So now you have renovation vocabulary.
exactly,
Yeah.
which is actually really funny. I remember on one occasion, I think I stayed at the Beehive on that occasion, and it was when Amy was doing her thing, and my architect, I couldn't get to Abruzzo, and my architect said he was going to be in Rome that weekend because he has family there. So I said, okay, let's do this. I'll come to Rome, and I turned up, and he said, let's meet here, and I mean, every time he's ever tried to get somebody that also speaks English or some English to help, it's always been a disaster. And on this occasion, when we were in Rome, he brought his nephew who was, he had business English, but he didn't have architectural English. So we ended
Oh,
up doing our own thing at the end of the table while the rest of the family had an aperitivo, and we went through all the costs and things for the renovation. But I think that's a great thing too about it being in Italy and them not knowing the language is that they're communicators. So
yeah.
even if you don't speak the language, they will try to understand you. Whereas
Oh yeah.
they, you know, you hear people in France, you have to try and speak the language. Otherwise, it's like you're not going to get any help whatsoever. So it's definitely the right place to be in some
Yeah.
respects.
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah. No, I spoke.
Well, in many respects, actually, but
Yeah. No, I mean I tell our guests this all the time because we get guests who worry that they don't speak Italian, and it's like you don't have to worry about speaking Italian. Don't worry. Yeah.
yeah. Well, here nobody speaks English, so it's like, wow, very well. In our village, there's probably a couple of expats, but I don't really see them.
How many people are in
Um,
your village?
sorry,
How many people are in your village? Do you know?
about 500.
Oh wow, it is small. Yikes.
So, yeah, nobody really speaks English.
Uh-huh.
So
That's
it's
small.
it's good. I mean, it's good for me. I mean, I learn off all the old ladies that are all my neighbours.
Yeah. I haven't been to Abruzzo in years. I have to get it back out there at some point.
Yeah, no,
Really love. Yeah. Yeah. No, we had one of our old babysitters, her family's from Abruzzo. And we went there once to stay with her family because, you know, it's like that, right? So she's like, yes, come. And, you know, the family wanted us to come, and our kids were really little. We only had 2 at that point. And so, yeah, so we went out to Abruzzo. I don't remember the name of a tiny little village. It was near. It wasn't too far from the place that makes the
Sulmona,
yeah.
the
It was near there.
confetti.
Yeah, but I don't remember the name of this village. It was minuscule. Um, but yeah, so we went there and we stayed with the family and we, had lots of lovely food and
Mm.
no, it was a really nice time. But that was a long time ago. I mean, at least I want to say 15 years ago or something. It was a long time ago. Yeah,
Mm.
15,
That's,
16 years.
yeah. That's the thing with Italy. I mean, I think I could literally be in Abruzzo for the rest of my life and still not go to everything, let
No,
alone
yeah.
Italy.
No, we haven't been to Sicily.
Mm.
So there's plenty of places. Molise, I've never been to Molise.
Mm.
Uh, Basilicata and Calabria, we've been, but like just to one specific place. We haven't really discovered other parts, and it's been a long time.
Mm.
Um, yeah, no, there's so many. I mean, 20 regions and all amazing, So yeah,
Definitely. And all with
yeah,
their own different shaped pasta.
yeah, and I mean, amazing landscapes and food
Mm.
and wine and culture. Different historical things that happen there, and no, I mean, yeah, I do love Italy for that. Right now, I
Mm.
have some friends who are, I have a lot of friends who are chomping at the bit, wanting to travel, and I just, if I could just spend time here in Italy doing things, visiting places, I'm fine with that. Like I'm not feeling the urge right now to really travel, but I
No.
would like to visit other parts. I mean, I would like to visit other parts of Italy that I've not been to. That part of travel, I wish I could be doing right now. But as far as
Mm.
like actually getting on a plane or whatever and going to some other country, I'm not really, I'm not really in the mood to do that right now. But within
No.
Italy, there's so much that I haven't seen yet that I would love to see. Yeah, I could definitely go for some traveling within the country. That would be nice.
Well, train travel's quite good at the moment with the
Yeah, I mean,
faster
it's
trains.
expensive. Traveling by train is expensive, and then we have to be. I mean, we don't have the money right now to travel,
Mm.
but we did go to the Cinque Terre for the first time this past summer, thanks to a colleague who has a hostel
Mm.
in La Spezia. So we
Lovely.
did. Hostel folk are always we trade, right? So
Oh, that's
people
good.
come and then we go. They stay here for free. Then we get to go. I still have plenty of places that I have to take them up. Because I've had we've had people stay here for free.
Mm.
Different places. Bucharest, Budapest. I mean, all over the place. But I still haven't. There's not been an exchange yet for us to go to them. But no, people they come here, they stay for free, and then we go there, and that's what happened with this friend who has a hostel in La Spezia.
Mm.
We went for a few days, and she let us stay in her hostel apartment, and it has a kitchen, so we were able to cook our own meals and things like that.
Nice.
No, it was really, really nice, and so finally got to see the Cinque Terre, and got to see it at a time when there weren't that many people. Uh,
No,
which hasn't really been the case for the last years. It's always
I
been
was
just
in La
full of people.
Spezia. I think in about 2010 I was there nearby in a little place called La Grazie. And
Yeah.
then it's like there's a peninsula that comes out from La Spezia, and then there's a place starts with a V. It comes out to a little,
Mm.
is it Venezia?
No, that's
Venezia, I
not.
think it is.
That's not. I think.
Yeah, just before there. That was quite kind of nice. We had to stay there for a week in the shipyard, so it was
Yeah.
interesting. But there's always somewhere to go in Italy.
Yeah. No, it's true. That's true.
Mhm. And how long have you been in Orvieto?
9 years.
Mm.
So we moved there when we moved back from Bali. We moved to Orvieto.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We just decided to. Uh, I mean, for a variety of reasons. For our
Mm.
family, because we knew that they would have to start going to public school. Um, we wanted a cheaper place to live because Rome at that time was still quite expensive as far as
Mm.
rentals and things because we had to change our apartment because our apartment here got sold. So we had to move. Yeah. And then we just decided, okay, we have to move and our kids have to go to school in the Italian public system. So where can we go that's not so expensive, well connected to Rome, but also has like a small enough environment school wise so that they're not like immediately put into a huge city center school, you know, capital city. So yeah, so Orvieto kind of ticked all those boxes. So that's where we chose Orvieto. Yeah, which is really nice. It's a lovely town.
It is a lovely town, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's interesting too. I went down under the city for the cave.
It is fascinating. I mean, it's a really interesting town and beautiful town. I try to get people to come to Orvieto from Rome because, you know, people, when they've been in Rome long enough and they're like, oh, I want to see what a small town is like. And I was like, well, I've got the right small town for you. But I try to encourage people to stay longer than just a day because, you know, everybody there's so many posts out there about Orvieto day trip from Rome. And I guess, yeah, it is a day trip from Rome. You can do it in a day, but you're kind of selling the town short by going just for a day because it really comes to life in the evenings. They're a town that still does the passeggiata. You know, if you go and you stay, you know, you stay in a hotel or a B&B or whatever. The next day you wake up and you have, you know, and then there's other places that you can go to in the area that you can take advantage to go see that maybe you would, you know, in Rome you certainly wouldn't really be able to go see, you know, like a goat cheese, you know, goat farm that makes
yeah,
and, you know, things like that, you know, I mean, it definitely is worthwhile to stay in Orvieto longer than just a day trip. Yeah. So I try to encourage people to, if they have the time, to go and actually stay a couple days, you know, and really get a feel for the town and explore other other areas around the town, you know.
Definitely. I think I saw what is it, that House Movers International or something. I know I did see it. One series that was in there.
Yeah.
It was
Tony. Yeah, Tony DeBella. She was on House Hunters.
Yeah, that's right. And there was I've seen other ones there as well. So
we were actually we had a little guest appearance in that one. Our family, yeah, for like 2 seconds. Yeah, it's funny.
Oh, very good. Oh, well, I'll let you get back to your evening, and it's been lovely talking to you.
Join and chat with you.
It was a lot of fun. My pleasure.
And hope to see you in Rome again sometime.
Yes. Unfortunately, I'm actually going to Rome on Friday, but I'm flying out.
Oh, that's
so I'm only there. Maybe on the way back.
Okay, well, keep me posted.
We'll see what's happening. Okay, take care. Have a good evening. See you. Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao.
Bye.